Members, we're getting ready to take up the budget, and this resolution is necessary for us to pass the budget. I'm going to ask you to vote to suspend Senate Rules 1203 and 1204, limiting what conference committees can do with respect to the budget. We suspend those rules to adopt a resolution allowing the conference committee to go outside the bounds of either the House or the Senate committee, substitute for House Bill 1. Pursuant to a change of our Senate rules earlier in this session, you've had the resolution in your possession for 48 hours. Having looked at the resolution, you've noticed it's pretty technical in nature and there are a lot of numbers moving around. The most widespread matters are the alignment of FTE limitations with final decisions, the rolling up of higher education appropriations into a single line item, and the reapportionment of Medicaid dollars among appropriate fiscal years and strategies to match final funding decisions. There's also a formatting change. Members, I'm not aware of any major substantive change in the resolution compared to the bill that you voted for earlier in this session, but it's essential that we reconcile the many changes that occurred during a conference committee report, and this resolution does this. I move to adopt Senate Resolution 1213, suspending Rules 1203 and 1204.
Members, you've heard the motion by Senator Ogden to suspend to adopt the Senate Resolution 1213. The Secretary will call the roll.
Birdwell, Corona, Davis, Dual, Duncan, Ellis, Eltife, Estes, Frazier, Gallegos, Harris, Hager, Hinojosa, Huffman, Jackson, Lucio, Nelson, Nichols, Ogden, Patrick, Rodriguez, Seliger, Shapiro, Uresti, Vanderbilt, Watson, Wentworth, West, Whitmire, Williams, Zaffarini.
Members, there being 30 ayes and 1 nay, the resolution is adopted. Members, the chair recognizes Senator Ogden for a motion on the conference committee report for House Bill 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm going to ask you today to join me in voting for House Bill 1 by adopting the conference committee report. This budget meets the essential needs of Texas state government and the citizens we serve. We have made significant funding reductions compared to the 2010 and 11 biennium, not because we wanted to, but because the economy and the voting public demanded it. The budget is conservative, it's balanced, and sets a standard for our federal representatives to take notice of and emulate. The Texas economy is recovering, and as the recovery gains steam, our state government will help rather than hinder our citizens in their quest for a job, for a dream, for a better life. The Conference Committee report on House Bill 1 addresses the 3 priorities that I believe we as a body said were most important: public education, public health, safety net services, and public safety. In public education, this budget matches the level of funding that we senators adopted as necessary in the Foundation School program for the next 2 years. We will provide nearly $800 million for the instructional materials allotment, allowing districts to buy the books needed to reach higher learning standards. While the Foundation School program will have $4 billion less than school districts expected to receive under current law, the total dollars in the system will increase. And I believe with this level of funding, combined with the creativity and skills of our school superintendents, principals, teachers, and parents, our students will be able to continue to advance in their academic progress. I want to thank to Senator Shapiro, Senator Duncan, Senator Duell, and many of the rest of you, because it appears against high odds we also will reach an agreement with the House to match the education statutes with the level of funding in this budget, preventing a huge deficit in public education funding next biennium. In the Health and Human Services arena, we are protecting the most vulnerable citizens among us. Because of the work of Senator Nelson and others did in the Senate to identify $3 billion of cost containment strategies, this conference report maintains the rate restorations the Senate deemed vital, maintains waiver slots for all those currently receiving services, and continues the reforms in our state supported living centers. Another significant achievement in this area is the preservation of mental health funding. Not only did we increase funding to maintain the number of mental health hospital beds, we maintain our investment in community mental health funding to keep people from entering the hospital or the criminal justice system. Public safety will undeniably be advanced with the adoption of this report. Senator Williams' work to identify border security measures needed means that our state troopers and game wardens and law enforcement officials will be better manned and better equipped to hold back the violence from crossing over and harming our citizens from Mexico. Our driver license system will be transformed so that our system is secure and our citizens are able to receive the services that they expect. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice System will both maintain the capacity it needs to secure and have the resources to continue treatment programs that have proved so successful in recent years. Beyond the first three priorities, we continue to prioritize our spending. In higher education, institutional funding at the general academics was focused on the formulas, while a hold harmless floor of 15% was maintained to recognize the many variances among our schools. Community college formula funding was maintained. The reductions initially proposed to the health-related institutions were significantly mitigated in House Bill 4. Financial aid funding will also allow us to maintain all students currently receiving aid and provide additional assistance for up to 64,000 incoming students. New transportation project contracts will actually exceed those let in fiscal 10 and 11. Senator Williams worked with TxDOT and many of you to allocate the remaining $4.1 billion in Proposition 12 bond authority strategically to make real improvements to our highway connectivity, traffic flow, and safety. Senator Duncan spent many hours considering all the options in ERS and TRS. The conference committee adopted his recommendations to preserve health insurance benefits for retired and current state employees and retired teachers. The ERS and TRS retirement funds will also be positioned well going into the next biennium, with state contribution rates increasing in fiscal 13. Favorable financing options will allow the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute to issue $600 million of new bonds to further the goal of curing and preventing cancer. The Water Development Board is authorized to issue $300 million of new state-supported bonds to further water planning for the future. Additionally, we appropriated a total of $182 million of general obligation bonds to continue the revitalization of our state parks, to continue the courthouse restoration grant program, and to address critical health and safety issues in state office buildings and our prison system. Members, this has been the single most challenging process I have been involved in since being elected to the legislature in 1990. And I dare say it has been the most challenging session that has faced our entire legislature as a whole in these last 20 years. We would never be standing here nearing resolution of the budget issues facing the 82nd legislature without the tireless, diligent work of so many of you. I must first thank my fellow conferees. I said many times that this was a great committee I've had the privilege of working with. Senator Duncan, Senator Hinojosa, Senator Nelson, Senator Williams. You made my job as easy as it could possibly be. Senator Shapiro, you and Senator Duell have done incredible work regarding school finance, and that is critical to this budget taking full effect, particularly with the agreements that we now have on 1811. Senator Eltife, You and the rest of the Finance Committee did such good work writing the Senate recommendations for House Bill 1 that the Conference Committee had solid recommendations that were easy to defend and support. And I'm proud of the fact when I told you that when we passed this budget a month or so ago that we would defend the Senate bill. 99% of what was in that Senate bill is still in this Conference Committee report today. I would be remiss if I did not specifically recognize the contribution that my Vice Chairman made to this process. Senator Hinojosa, your insight, your tenacity, your friendship lighten the load. You are to be commended for your adherence to your principles and your commitment to try and do the right thing for your constituents. I'd like to thank Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst for the opportunity to chair the Finance Committee this session. Your staff and John Opperman and Don Green and Casey Lamb and Jamie Dudensing in particular provided great help throughout this process. The LBB withstood the test of time, or maybe I should say the test of no time. John O'Brien and Ursula Parks, you and your staff once again performed with great skill under tremendous pressure. Members, thank you for your invaluable expertise. I would also like to thank the members of the Senate Finance Committee staff, particularly Sarah Hicks, for her extraordinary knowledge and effort in making this bill possible. I could not have done it without her and the rest of the staff that we have down at Senate Finance. Members, thank you again for the honor of serving with you. I move adoption of the Conference Committee report for House Bill 1.